Welcome to the Christian Musicpreneur podcast. It's MLK Day, and I will be taking your questions. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Christian Musicpreneur podcast, where we provide tips, tools, techniques, and resources to help you grow your ministry. I'm your host, Simone Henry, a business coach and mentor for independent Christian recording artists. Hello and welcome to the Christian Musicpreneur podcast. I'm Simone Henry. All of that was said in the intro, but hey, this is live. And today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And just as a tribute, I just want to say that I am thankful for him and his generation and his ministry and all that they did. A lot of people say that we haven't made any progress and things are still so bad. Things are pretty bad when it comes to racial conflict and animosity in this country, but they're not as bad as they were. So things could be so much worse. Every day, I always like to say, we have something to be thankful for every day, even when things are awful. So one of the things I remember listening to, I listened to this historical podcast called Throughline, and they talked about how all the different people surrounding Martin Luther King Jr. as he was, he was the front man. He was the man with the vision and who would inspire the people with his speeches and with his sermons. But he had his lieutenants and people around him who actually were on the ground and getting the work done, and galvanizing the people, actually making the signs. And did they make signs? They didn't really have signs. Well, I guess they did make some signs, but they were, they organized the marches and they went out there and did all the protests and gathered the children and the church folk and all the people together. So all that to say, a person can't do it alone. They need help. They need a team. Back, what was it, in 2020, when the whole world was rioting because of the death of George Floyd, there was a quote that was going around by John F. Kennedy, and I remember I looked it up to see if this quote was true, if it was real. Did he really say this? And it talked about it. It said, "Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution probable or inevitable. Will make violent revolution inevitable." And it made me think back to that Throughline episode where they talked about Martin Luther King's lieutenants and how they would be out there protesting, and they're protesting peacefully and everything, but nothing was happening, nothing was changing. But what they did was they antagonized the mayor, they antagonized the governors and the fire chiefs and everything, and to get them to bring out the hoses and the dogs, because that violence got people's attention. When reporters would show up with their cameras and to take pictures, there was this one incident where the guy dropped his camera because a kid was knocked down by all the water from the hose, and the reporter dropped his camera to go and help the kid. But the guy who had organized the protest told him, "No, don't you dare. You pick up your camera and you take these pictures. We need these to go out to the world. We need the world to see what's going on here." And it's horrible and it's hard, but I'm thankful that people were willing to do that, because their bravery and their willingness to go out there and get brutalized, basically, helped to change our country and help to change the world, honestly. And so I am grateful for their sacrifices. I always used to say, if somebody ever asked me, like, what am I doing to celebrate Martin Luther King Day? I'm sitting in the front of the bus. That's what I'm doing. Um, because me living in my skin every day, back then, there are so many things that I wouldn't have been able to do. I wouldn't have been able probably to do what I'm doing now. But because of their sacrifices, I am. I am now. So yeah, things aren't great in our country right now, but they could be so much worse. So we have a lot to be thankful for. So that is my little talk on Martin Luther King Jr. And that movement and his sacrifice. Um, so uh, if you don't know, I am a coach and mentor to independent Christian recording artists. And what I do is I help you to build your fan base using a process that I call the fan journey. It is not something that I came up with on my own. It is something that I adopted. Other people have taught me this. I see that it works. It has actually been working for me. A lot of business people use this same process. I was listening to a Q&A last night with Rick Barker. Rick Barker was what's her name, Taylor Swift's manager when she first got started, and he's been working with independent artists for a long time, and he was saying how he gets messages from business people all the time saying, "Hey, can you teach me your process? I will pay anything." And but at the same time, he gets artists complaining about, "Oh, is this worth it? It costs too much. It's da 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 da," because the they don't understand the business process really, and the necessity of investing in order to grow. Myself, I learned the value of investing in myself a few years ago when I started working with a coach. I got into a group, and they helped me to put in place some processes. um, and then when that group was over, I think I joined another one maybe a year or so later, and that one really helped me to up level my mindset really, and to get a lot more comfortable with putting myself out there. And if you don't know, if you're new to me, I started in this business world with a website called the Christian Jukebox. It was a digital download store. I sold music of independent artists in every genre imaginable, and it was a fantastic product. And a lot of people loved it. They really did. But I was terrible at marketing it. I was super shy. I didn't want to put myself out there. I was a perfectionist. I thought, well, if it has any kind of bugs or anything in it, I can't share it with anybody, you know. Um, but now I know that you do as you learn. You put it out there, and as you're growing, I have updated my coaching programs multiple times because I look at it, I work with a client, I see the flaws, I revamp it, and then I, put it back out there again. That's just the nature of things. There is no such thing really as perfect because our world is continually changing. So, um, and then investing in yourself to learn and to grow is just necessary if you want to improve and to avoid the pitfalls that people have made coming before you, right? So, um, having that team, having that group around you, that support around you is really necessary to help you move forward in at an accelerated rate, you know. You could do everything that I teach, everything that, Henry Harris teaches, everything that Philip Carter teaches. You could learn all that stuff. You could go on Google and do your research. You can do that all yourself, really. But why? It it's gonna, I always like to say your two biggest currencies are time and money. You're either gonna spend the time to learn all that stuff and then do it yourself, make mistakes along the way, mistakes that could be avoided, or you could invest in someone else's knowledge that they've spent years to gain and that they can give to you in a matter of minutes or hours. And you're off and running. And you've avoided a lot of the mistakes that they made while they were learning. Um, so that's really the benefit of um, investing and opening yourself up to learning from others. I heard this quote the other day and I thought it was great. The person said, if you want to reach your goals, the way to do that is to open your wallet and invest and roll up your sleeves and get to work. That's how you reach your goals. Um, so this week, you may have seen a video where I shared the fan journey that I take my clients through as they are building up their fan base. And the reason I wanted to share that, well, for one thing, somebody asked for it, like how, because I mentioned that in my program description, like I go through this process called the fan journey process to get you to a place where you are building up your fan base on a consistent and regular basis. Because a lot of you, you have fans, but these are all people that you already know. What about the people out there that you don't know, who haven't been introduced to you yet? How do you reach them? So this is a process that tells you how to do it. Um, I was asking somebody if I can speak to their audience about this, and they were saying, well, what's your topic going to be? And I said, well, it's going to be about building fan base. And they said, oh, well, gospel artists don't want to know that because they are, hey, Mary, they don't want to work. They don't want to work that hard, um, which is sad. And if I were you, if I were an artist, I'd be offended. I really would, because I know that you guys, you do work hard. You work hard. You're going to work every day. You're working for your families. You're doing a job. As a musician, you have to learn your craft in order to be any good at it, right? And I've heard some really good music by independent artists. You are working hard and you're willing to work hard. My thing is, I feel like you just don't know how to do it. We've been talking to you about, oh, you got to build your fan base. You got to build your fan base. You got to build your fan base. Well, now here I am telling you and teaching you exactly how to do it. How do you put in place this process? And what I do with you is that when we put this process in place, it becomes an automated evergreen system that goes out and introduces you and your music to new people and then educates them and nurtures them into fandom. And in that process, it's an ongoing process. So not only does it nurture them, but it also sells them your stuff, right? And we come together and we can think outside the box about what it is you want to sell. The big conversation is, oh, do I sell CDs? Are we in a digital world? I can't sell CDs anymore. So what else do I sell? Well, let's think outside the box. What can you sell? I was talking to an artist the other day and I was saying, why don't you could do a lyric book, you can do a USB drive, you can do, well, I know some artists have written books, so you've got that in the bag. There's lots of things that that are sold on all of these drop shipping sites, like all these souvenir type things, hats, masks. Masks are a thing now, right? Um, Hats, masks, pens, cups, mugs, and you design it how you want, put your logo on it, whatever color you want, and it's all you. It is your design, your branding, and it can go out there to the world and shared with your audience, and they are then sharing it with their family and friends, and now more people know about you and your ministry and your music. That's pretty much me and what I do in a nutshell. um, does anybody have any questions? I am taking questions and comments. Um, as far as especially the fan base building process, is there anything that you want to know about that? And what are you working on this year? Are you working on a new album, a new single? Are there things that you think that maybe you have forgotten in your release process that maybe you need to remember to do every time? I have what it's called the album release roadmap. I saw another lady, she put out a checklist recently, and it's just a simple checklist. Don't forget all these different things. Do you keep a checklist when you're releasing music? Do you check off stuff to make sure you're doing it right? Do you give yourself enough time? Um, Artists want to be on these Spotify curated playlists, their branded playlists. But you have to submit music to them 2 weeks ahead. Did you know that? So that means before you can't necessarily say, okay, um, I'm releasing on August 16th, and I'm going to submit the music to Spotify on August 16th. That's not going to work, right? You also have to give your distributor enough time for them to get things prepared and correct, so that when it is released, it's right. I heard somebody say this: make sure you have the music in your hand, already done, mixed, mastered, ready to go, and then set your release date for a month after that. Have you ever done that? Because then when you do that, that gives you time to put together a marketing strategy. um, what I've seen with a lot of artists, their marketing strategy is, um, I want to submit it to radio, and then on Facebook and Instagram, it's, hey, I've got a new song out, go buy it, you know, and that is their marketing strategy. And you don't really see anything else. So where is the priming your audience ahead of time and showing behind the scenes content, video, photos, you know, show video and photos of the photo shoot. That's what they do for movies. You know what the thing is? It's like we need to look and see like what they do for movies when the movies are about to come out. All the people that go out for they show the previews first, and then there's all the stars hit all the morning shows and all the night shows and everything. um, it's really pretty interesting. But when you look at that, that's basically what you're doing when you're releasing music. You want to have all that lead up to it, create a buzz, create the anticipation, and then when you release it, now you're telling them to go buy it. But beforehand, you're putting out um, a lot of information about the song and about the album and what does it mean. Tease the lyrics of some of the best songs on the project, or tease a little bit of the chorus of of the new single. um that's one thing. That's another thing I think that artists miss all the time, is that they never put the lyrics out there. This is Christian music, and it matters. The lyrics matter. So those should be out there. There's a ton of lyrics websites that you can post your lyrics on for free. You don't have to pay for them. And then there's the two biggest ones that where lyrics are pulled from for Shazam and for YouTube Music, and that's the Harry Fox Agency. Oh, and I'm forgetting the other one. The other one is Music's Match. Put your lyrics out there. They should be out there. And that's also SEO for your website and for you as an artist, right? When people are looking up your name, if your lyrics are out there, so your lyrics are out there, your album's out there, your website, your socials, it all helps to help people to find you. And, if people happen to be searching on a particular phrase and that phrase is in your lyrics, wouldn't it be cool if your lyrics show up as they're searching for whatever that phrase is? Yeah. Okay. So I think I am. Um, does anybody else have any questions? And Ron, if you want to come in. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say this and I forgot to. I want to say a big thank you to my friend DJ Ronnie Ron, because he is producing this particular podcast. We'll be here every Monday at 5. He is helping me to stay on track, and he is running the StreamYard. I don't actually have StreamYard. Hey, Ron.
Hey.
He does the behind the scenes tech stuff. I told him I just want to be able to show up and talk. I didn't really have a topic planned for today, except for just answering questions, because it's my first show of the new year, and it's my first show coming back from, well, for being on hiatus with my podcast for a while. But I know I have to do the same thing that I tell you artists to do, right? In order to
Right.
build know, like, and trust, I have to be out there so that you get to know, like me, and trust me. Yay.
Hey.
I'm
You're doing a
building my
good job.
audience as well. Yeah, so and I've learned to be comfortable on video. I was talking to Ron before I came on video. Oh, my lipstick actually looks pretty good today. Normally it doesn't look that good. It kind of washes out depending on the lighting, I suppose, in here. I've got my lights turned off and it's just the ring light that's shining on me now.
Yeah.
um, First royalties in December 2021. It's possible. You must do the work. Absolutely. Um, right. And that harkens back to my quote, right? In order to reach your goals that you have, and it's a quote by a guy named Shane Sams. He's from Kentucky. He runs a membership and he teaches memberships. He said, if you want to reach your goals, the way to do that is to open your wallet and invest, and roll up your sleeves and get to work. That's how we do this. It's the beginning of the year, and this is when we make our goals for the upcoming year. Some of us make resolutions. A lot of us have sworn off resolutions. We don't do resolutions anymore. But whether we do resolutions or goals or anything else, this is the time of year when we're thinking about how do we want this year to go? What do we want for this year? It's really, this is the time to think about it, right? Even though, honestly, when you wake up, you go to bed December 31st and you wake up January 1st, what has changed really, except for a page has turned on the calendar? Nothing
Right.
has really changed. But our attitude has changed, our attitude about the world that we live in. And, when January 1st comes, we have all these, we get optimistic about the year ahead and what it can mean. It feels like a reset to us. A lot of people talk about how, 2020 was such an awful year, and then when the calendar rolled over for 2021, it was supposed to be fantastic. It's a great new year, you know. But really nothing changed. It was just a flip of the calendar, you know.
That's right.
You know, and it's the same this year. The only thing that's really going to change is how we decide to do things. What do we do now to make this year better than the last? What's our attitude going to be? You know, I think the last couple of years I did workshops on SMART goals, and SMART goals are great. But sometimes at the end of the year, if you didn't reach those goals, you know, people get depressed and sad and like, oh, I never reached any of my goals. Um, well, there is a new way to think about goals. Make your goals, make the SMART goals, but also think about that as you're working on these goals, you are changing, you are growing. Um, Terry Savelle Foy likes to say, as you're working on your goals are working on you. So that's a way to think about it. You know, we have to, that's absolutely right, Yari. We have to decide what our attitude is going to be over the year and make a commitment to see things change and to see things be different. Because without the commitment, you know, a lot of times we're optimistic and we're seeing the bright shiny stars and stuff at the beginning of the year, and then round about March or June or July, we're feeling the pressure. We're feeling, oh, I don't feel like doing this. I don't want to do this. You know, and we're not feeling the same way. But it's that commitment that makes us keep going. Um, you know, the only way things change is if we hold on to that commitment, because when we are motivated to make that change, say at the beginning of the year like it is now, you know, we may have that motivation and we want to change things, we want to do things different, like, you know, the gyms are full right now, everybody wants to get in there and lose weight. But then round about, you know, February, March, they lose all the fervor. Why? It's because it was more of a resolution and not necessarily a commitment. The commitment is what actually keeps you going. Um, and having those habits, making that commitment actually changes you as a person. And they talk about changing your identity. So instead of saying I'm trying to lose weight, you know, say I am a fit, healthy person, right? You are changing your identity. I'm a fit, healthy person, therefore I exercise, right? Um, I am a profitable Christian artist, therefore I get on a program where I am advertising and I am nurturing my fan base on a regular basis.
That's it. Hey,
That
great information right there. Awesome. Um, Again, guys, you all need to definitely go check out shamusic.com. You artists that are tuned in, okay. As you heard her dropping some nuggets on Christian Musicpreneur podcast. She has a lot more for you there. So
there's a
yes. Oh, wow, well, great show. Hey, we got 2 minutes left. So anything else you want to tell the people out there? Hey.
Oh, that is pretty much it. Oh, let me see. Okay. Ron, he reminded me of this. I always have to do a call to action, right? Okay, so my call to action is go to my website, eshemusic.com/radio, and download my new guide about how to get your music on the radio. And it comes chock full with stuff you need to know about it.
There it is.
Okay.
Man.
That is
Wow.
my call to action for today.
Great show. Great show. Again, shamusic.com. Go and get it /radio. All right, man. What, they still listen to the radio these days? No.
People still listen to the radio these days.
Wow.
Would you believe it?
Oh, wow. Well,
you know what I think? I think more artists want to be on the radio than people who are actually listening to the radio.
Well, now you know that could be a problem there. Hey, that is a good point.
Upside down.
Well, we definitely changed that thinking for sure. Technology has changed the game. But no, hey, this ain't the music instrument over. This is Eshe Music right here, the Christian Musicpreneur podcast. Thank you so much for having
Absolutely.
me on.
And thank you all for watching.
All right. Well, again, the Christian Musicpreneur podcast with Miss Simone Henry. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Christian Musicpreneur podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean a lot to me if you would like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Feel free to share your takeaways in the comment section below and join my free Facebook group, Christian Recording Artists Seeking Freedom. See you next time, and remember to take action and never give up.